What's up, YouTube? Taylor here. I would like to apologize. I know it's been a very long time since I've done a video, but today I am uploading my 8-month video, this video which is about traveling abroad, and my 9-month video because I'm on 9 months. So bear with me. Thank you for being patient, but I promise I'm putting everything up today. So but like I said, this video is going to be about traveling abroad as a trans person and my experience. What happened, things that I learned that you guys might find helpful if you are a trans person that's wanting to travel. But here we go. So first off, before I flew out, I got a letter from my doctor, who gives, distributes my hormones, and it's a legitimate letter that is used when trans people travel, and it explains why I look the way I do and why my IDs don't necessarily match, stuff like that. So first off, if you're going to travel, that letter does exist. Your doctor, if they're, if they know stuff about trans people, they've probably heard of the letter, so I definitely suggest looking into that. But it saved me a couple times. So the night before I flew out, I was extremely nervous and felt like, I was going to get arrested in front of everyone and everyone would know why, and of course, those things don't really happen. And I also kind of knew that wasn't going to happen, but my imagination was running wild. I was getting so nervous the night before I flew. But I got to LAX, and what I did was I used my driver's license as long as I could. So when they check in the security check, when you put your bag through the scanner and all that stuff, I just used my photo ID, and I figured I'd keep using my photo ID until someone corrected me. In LAX, they never corrected me. The only time they needed to look at it was they need to look at it just to make sure that my passport name and my ticket name matched, but they weren't even really checking the photo. They just needed to make sure they matched. So that's another suggestion. Keep using whatever form of ID looks most like you until you're corrected otherwise, as far as travel abroad goes. Because my photo ID is up to date, it looks like me, it says male on it, stuff like that. So, flying out of LAX was no big deal. I got to Charlotte, North Carolina, and they did do a passport check, but once again, it was only to check that the names matched, so no big deal. So, I'm flying now to Paris. I'm on the flight, I'm all nervous, and it's a language barrier, and, all this stuff, so I land in Paris, I get to the front of the security check line where they check the passport, customs, and the woman did not even look at my photo. Literally, she did not look. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Everyone had told me, it's no big deal. It's only America that people are so nervous about who's coming in and who's coming out. Every other country, it'll be easy, easy. And so, that was definitely true in that moment. I handed her my passport. She was talking to someone else. She literally was just talking to the other person, opened my passport, stamped it, and didn't even fully hand it back to me. That's how much she wasn't paying attention. I had to, there behind this plexiglass, I had to literally reach my hand in and grab it because she was just done and was talking to someone else. So that was awesome, and I was so excited because then, as soon as I got through security, then I got to see my girlfriend. That's the reason I went. She did a summer semester in Paris doing fashion, and it was really cool. So that was the reason I went, was she had already been there a month and a half, and I wanted to go visit. So, and it was a surprise and everything. I told her a couple days before, so it was mostly a surprise. She didn't know that I had been planning it the whole time. So, but anyway, so while I was in Paris, I got to meet someone who was trans. And he was really cool, and he's past a year mark. I'm not sure, he's a year and X amount of months, and he's already had surgery. So, that was just really cool because he's further along than me, but at the same time, he's not 4 years on hormones or something like that. So, it was kind of cool to look at what my near future looks like. And, I have talked to other trans people before, but he was definitely the first one that, I don't know, I just felt I could ask, like, really ask questions, and he was a cool guy, and, we had breakfast and just, like, talked about it, and I really appreciated it, so, that was a great experience in Paris, but anyway, so, back to flying. My trip is over, we get to the airport. I'm thinking, obviously Paris isn't going to be an issue, and when I get to the US, they'll question me, but they speak English, I have the letter, and I am an American with an American passport. Like, it probably won't be that bad. I was so wrong. So we get to Charles de Gaulle Airport, and before we even get to the ticket line where you, like, check in, check your bags, do all that, they were doing passport checks while you were waiting in line. And so I had to give them my passport, and they were like, "This is not you." And I said, "Yes, it is. Here's my letter." And they looked at Nicole, my girlfriend, and said, "Are you traveling together?" And she said yes. So that meant that Nicole was directly associated with me for the rest of the travel. So then we had to be kind of pulled aside. I had to show them my letter, all that stuff. They said okay, but what they did was they put these bright freaking orange security. It said security on it, bright orange, on our passports, because Nicole too, because she was traveling with me. Our passports, our tickets, our luggage, everything that we had this bright orange sticker. So we got stopped a bunch of times, and we would just get searched. By it was so crazy because we were considered high security. So then we get our bags checked, which they have to do an extra check because it has a security sticker on it. I have to show my letter again. Then we get to where you check your carry-on, the security, where you put your bag in the thing, the scanner. We had to get an extra check there. And then, actually, I skipped one. We did get stopped one other time before that one. And I'm having to explain every time what's going on, why this is the way it is. And then our plane's finally boarding. Thank goodness, let's just get on the plane, get home, They pull us aside on I think it's called the jetway. It's that, skywalk thing in between the actual airport building and the plane. They pull us aside. We get completely searched. I mean, pat down, everything. They had to go through our bags all over again. They had to take it back out to the security area where, where you put the bags through. It was crazy. And so I'm kind of stressed out. Like, I'm sick of having to explain this. I'm sick of the fact that I can't get on the plane, and I'm also, like, I'm thankful that Nicole was going through it with me, but at the same time I didn't want her to have to go through it with me, so that was kind of upsetting me. Because everything that happened to me happened to her, because we were marked as flying together. So, for the pat down, the man, which anytime I get a pat down, it's always by a man, because men get pat down by men and women get patted down by women. Well, they understood that I was trans, but the man asked me, "Have you had surgery?" And I had to say no, because I figured I shouldn't lie in an airport. So I had to get pat down by a woman. And that was what upset me the most. Because everyone knows that men get pat down by men, and women get the pat down by women. And everyone else was boarding, and I was, they pulled me aside on the jet bridge while I was getting a pat down by a woman, and it was just really embarrassing for me. They were polite. I was never, there were never rude comments, nothing. They were polite, and they were just following protocol, but it really sucked. And it kind of messed with me a little bit to have to get a pat down by her, and so that last security check took so long. The entire plane had boarded, and the flight attendant had to come out on the jet bridge and confirm that we were, like Taylor and Nicole, because they had closed the door for anyone else loading. Although we were already on, we were in the in between. So they literally had to hold the plane for us. That's how long it took them to do that last security check. So in between when we got to Charles de Gaulle Airport and I got on the actual airplane, I had to show my passport and explain 6 different times. That's how many times I got stopped. That was terrible, and I hope I never have to go through it again. But like I said, everyone was polite. There was never a moment where I felt discriminated against or anything like that. As unfortunate as it is, they were just kind of following protocol, and I just have to keep reminding myself of that. I had the bright security sticker on my stuff, and I'm pretty sure when you have that, that's what happens. So, we are now on our plane, we get on our long flight, we land in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, I'm just so nervous because of everything I went through in Paris, and that's just in Paris. What about when we land in the U.S., right? We're in the U.S. now. They're the ones that really care. And also, North Carolina of all places. If you follow the news at all, it wasn't too long ago, it was just a couple months ago that it was already not recognized to be, a gay married couple in North Carolina, but they took the extra step to make sure it was, like, extra illegal, So I'm like, which doesn't necessarily pertain to me, but that sort of explains the social climate there. So I'm like, shit, I'm so nervous. And Nicole's like, it's going to be alright. You're fine, you're fine. So, and you get in that line and everyone's quiet, and if anyone's like, this little kid was running around, that security guard got on him so fast, like, stop it, get back in line. Like, they're serious while you're going through customs in the U.S. So, we finally get up, and Nicole comes with me. We come up to the guy at the same time, and he looks at both our passports. Of course, hers is fine. He didn't seem to care about those bright orange security stickers. And he looked at mine, and I had my letter in my hand, but I didn't come out with it. I didn't just walk up like, here's my passport, here's my letter. I just didn't feel like doing that. If I don't have to explain, I don't really want to, because I shouldn't have to. And it was amazing. He thought that my passport had a typo on it. He could tell it was me, which was great, even though it doesn't look like me, like the structure of my face is still the same. So that wasn't an issue. But he said, look, this says a typo. It says F on it for female. Like, they should really fix that for free. Which was just so funny to me that the government guy, TSA guy, literally thought that the United States government made a mistake on my passport and that there wasn't just straight up something a little strange or wrong with my passport. So we kind of played it dumb, like, oh yeah, like, we really need to get that fixed, like, thanks for pointing it out, and just walked out. That was it. Like, he thought it was a mistake and that I wasn't, which was reassuring to me. Like, I'm apparently that convincing that the guy didn't think, oh, there's something wrong with this person. He thought there was something wrong with my passport. So that was actually pretty cool, and we just literally laughed as we were walking out. As soon as we were out of earshot, we just started laughing, like, what the hell? Like, okay. So there was some good and there was some bad. My tips are just use your whatever ID looks most like you for as long as possible until you're corrected. And definitely bring your letter, because if I didn't have that letter, I don't know if I would have been allowed to fly out of Paris. But hopefully that was helpful, and I am now going to do my 9-month video. So, see you guys in a second.